known as a fierce competitor on the basketball court. The greatest of all time.
On the nights the Lakers played, I wouldn't miss a second of the game. Every time out, every commercial, I'd run to the front yard to imitate my favorite Laker, Kobe. Watching Kobe play at the Great Western Forum as a rookie made this little girl believe she could be a Laker one day.
I couldn't see him as a celebrity, nor just an incredible basketball player. He was my sweet husband and the beautiful father of our children.
Kobe was my dear friend. He was like a little brother. When Kobe Bryant died, a piece of me died.
Babe, you take care of our Gigi. And I got Nani, Bibi, and Coco. We're still the best team. May you both rest in peace and have fun in heaven until we meet again one day.
91-year-old Winnie Hatcher has a single wish this Christmas, and that is to ride a horse.
No, I wasn't nervous about getting on. I was just so excited I didn't know what I was doing.
Growing up in Missouri, she lived on a farm and rode horses every day. But it's been more than 40 years since she's gone riding.
I'm ready to bawl, but I'm not gonna.
A week ago, Winnie was having lunch with a friend and happened to mention she'd like to ride a horse one last time.
1, 2, 3.
Yay!
Oh, well done.
And just like that, this single mom and her 3 children are home for the holidays.
So happy, it's like a dream come true, finally living in a new house.
And they have Kurt and Brenda Warner's foundation, First Things First, to thank for that.
I think back to when I was younger, and I can't remember the food we ate, I can't remember the presents that I got, but what I do remember is the family coming together at our home.
The First Things First Foundation teamed up with Habitat for Humanity Central Arizona.
Students at Cortez High School got whiplash today when monster truck driver Brianna Mahone surprised 15-year-old superfan Christopher Fisher.
He ran out, gave me a huge hug, and went straight to the truck and started high-fiving everybody.
I think these people have hearts as big as their trucks. To do that.
The surprise visit is part of Down Syndrome Acceptance Month and was made possible by a partnership between Monster Jam and Gigi's Playhouse.
She's just frustrated. She can't tell you what's going on.
16-year-old Alyssa Holguin may not have a voice, but has high-tech tools to communicate. This device allows her to use her eyes like a computer mouse.
It reads her pupils for her to be able to select whatever she wants to say.
She has the mind of a 16-year-old, but can't walk or talk. Her mom, Chris, says it's like
being able to hear and see everybody in this room talk and screaming at the top of your lungs and nobody hearing you.
Big job. Gorgeous.
Under the white big top, a group of VIPs enjoy a behind-the-scenes guided tour to stimulate all of their senses.
Kids are getting to feel the horses, feed the horses, experience the different equipment we use, listen to the sounds the horses make.
It means a lot. I mean, we just got started. This is awesome.
It's all a part of discovering Cavalia in a magical way.
Hey, it's the horses eat.
Meet Paco.
Are you a little bit of everything?
Oh yeah, I know. Yes, thank you.
Until recently, Paco was living on the streets of Hermosillo, Mexico.
He says we'll work for kisses. Yeah. Oh, yes, I know.
For weeks, Paco was left for dead after a bite from another dog broke his leg and caused a severe infection.
To what would be equivalent to his arm. And his radius bone and ulna bone were broken and badly infected.
That's when workers at the Animals Benefit Club saw him and decided to do something.
He's only 10 months old. He's just a baby. So that's part of the reason why we really want to keep this leg on this dog, because he's just a puppy.
Dogs have four legs, and we believe we should spare them.
And now they're hoping to raise enough money to do a special surgery on the leg to keep it from being amputated.
We don't believe in amputating legs unless that's absolutely necessary. That's a last resort for us.
They call it equine assisted therapy, or ETA.
For the patient to come in here, it's kind of like going to the dentist's office because they don't know what to expect.
This is where they offer lessons on horse care.
Should I go introduce myself? If you'd like to.
Grooming.
1, 2, 3, 1.
And on-the-ground interactions which create deep bonds with patients with post-traumatic stress.
And we give them things to do. It can be as simple as go meet the horses, or it can be as complicated as building a representation of something that they're going to include the horses in.
With a low temperature near freezing tonight, these huge tortoises were in somewhat of a hurry to get someplace warm.
These tortoises are from Africa, so they don't see temperatures like we see here tonight, so they don't know what to do basically.
Dan Marchand with the Phoenix Herpetological Society says not all pet tortoises are the same.
Our Arizona tortoise hibernates. It's used to these cold temperatures. It knows what to do. It goes into the ground. It sleeps for several months.
So he doesn't scale back. He has a heat source inside every single enclosure.
These seats are empty, and that's not a good thing. It may be the day before Thanksgiving, but it's also the eve of the most difficult time of year to encourage blood donations. There are probably a lot of things Christopher Boyle could be doing today, but he's here.
It's a way to help the world.
He's donating platelets so a patient he doesn't even know will have what they need Monday.
I'm always thinking about what can be healing, what can be helping, what can be uplifting.
Well, yeah, we were all there for one reason, to go to war.
75 years ago, Air Force veteran Gene Graham was in the middle of World War II. A photo reconnaissance pilot by trade, the 94-year-old vet spent most of the time in the Pacific, joining the military just before he graduated high school after Japanese forces bombed Pearl Harbor.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Okay, now you made a big splash too. Some of the one of the biggest pieces in your speech that got a lot of attention was the closing down of the Florence prison. This is the place that houses death row inmates. You say it's going to save $300 million for the state. How did you come about deciding that that was the prison that was going to be shuttered?
So this prison was built in 1908. Mm-hmm. Think Shawshank Redemption. Mm-hmm. And with what's happened in the state through the downturn, there's been a lot of neglect. You know, the upkeep that is necessary in a facility this large.
This group marched from the Civic Space Park.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
A mile and a half to the state capitol. The group tonight grew very quickly. I'd estimate there's about 1,000 people here.
I work for a company that does their best to help underserved and underprivileged communities, and I felt called to serve, so it's important.
Trees are popping back up on the hills overlooking the South Mountain Freeway as cars speed by on the long-awaited Loop 202 connection.
All of these plants were preserved. They were nurtured for the last 3+ years. And now they're back home.
ADOT's used to worrying about potholes. These ones in particular, though, they're going to be filling them up with saguaros and palo verde trees, among other plants.
If a tree came out of a section of the freeway, that's where it'll go back.
ADOT says they removed the vegetation for construction 3 years ago.
Friday morning, the state, which ordered Hacienda Healthcare to hire a third-party manager, made it clear it was not on board with the facility shutting down its ICF unit. Parents of patients in the ICF were worried, too.
That meant the department where my son is, yes, that's the one that would be affected by this.
This morning, the state's healthcare cost containment system responded to Hacienda's closure plan, giving them a 4 p.m. deadline to answer specific questions about it. Hacienda responded just in time, saying they were willing to voluntarily enter into an agreement with the Department of Health Services when it comes to licensing authority.
There's a guy, he jumped off of the back.
In the wee hours of Tuesday morning, Amir Swice lost a lot. Someone made off with a 16-foot trailer and all the tables, mattresses, and dressers inside. About 20 grand in all. The trailer had been parked right outside the home. It was already loaded up, ready for a delivery in the morning. But when Swice woke up, it was all gone. When he realized it had been stolen, he immediately turned to his Nest camera, where he first noticed somebody who he thinks was scoping the place out.
The guy came on his bike, drove up and down the street multiple times.
We are often hurting for revenue, and this allows you to generate revenue without having to raise taxes.
Senator-elect Michelle Ugenti-Rita on her bill to lift the ban on Keno, a game where players select numbers and wait to see if they match. It's offered in several other states like North Carolina, and unlike the lottery, it can be played numerous times a day.
It's hard to predict how much revenue it could generate, but to that point, the revenue in my bill would go to the general fund.